Hello friends, today in this live stream we will be implementing form validation inside JavaScript. So basically we will be looking at a very basic example inside JavaScript. So of form validation. So form validation, as you all know, basically we will have a simple HTML form here. We will try to validate that form. So form validation in JavaScript. So basically guys, we will have a simple index.html file here, and we will be doing some kind of a form validation. So we will have a simple form element here. This will be a simple HTML form here. So if you're watching it for the very first time guys, then please hit the like button, subscribe the channel as well. So here inside this form we can have some input field out there, which is, let's suppose, input type text, and this will be for the ID. We will be giving it username, and basically it will be a required field. Some comments are also coming in. So Manpreet is saying, can you create a Chrome extension with JavaScript? Definitely I can create it. In the next videos to come, in the next live stream, I will definitely create Chrome extension as well. So in this tutorial guys, we will have two input fields out there: input type password, and we will also be giving a ID to it of password, and it should be required. So first of all, hit the like button, subscribe the channel as well guys. So now after this we will have a simple submit button, basically input type submit, and basically the value will be login. So this is the actual form guys. You can see that we have three input fields out there, which is for username, password, and this is login. So if I now open this with live server, basically in the browser, you can now see we have this two input fields out there, which is this one. So now basically these are the autocompletes which are coming here guys. So now to turn off this autocomplete, we have a special attribute inside the form tag which lets you turn off this autocomplete. There is a attribute called as autocomplete. So if you can turn this off or on. I need to turn this off. So now if you refresh it, so there will be no autocomplete which will be coming here. So that is some attribute which is there in form validation. You can put this attribute. And now guys, basically we will be looking at very basic validation. So we will be creating a script file here, which will be script.js inside the root directory. So here we will be just creating a script.js file, and here we will be doing some form validation. We will be doing it. So first of all guys, as you can see, we have given this ID to the username and the password field. You can see that we have given this, and first of all we need to also give it an ID of button. So here we have this form element guys. You can see that we also need to give it an ID of form. So whenever this form submits guys, we need to add an event listener to it. So here we can simply first of all get the reference of the form. So here we will simply say let form, and here we will simply say document.get element by ID. So as you can see, we have given that form element a ID. You can see that we have given this ID here of the form here. So we are getting it by the reference document.get element by ID. So after this we simply need to, we have this form add event listener. So inside we will assign a event listener guys. So basically whenever the form submits, whenever you click this submit button, this login button, this we want to submit this form. So how we can do this? Basically we will be attaching a special event handler which is called as submit. So when this form submits guys, this callback function will execute. So this is a callback function. Basically whenever this callback function execute, and it will have this event object as a argument guys, e parameter. And basically here first of all we need to prevent the auto submission of the form. So here for this we will write a line which is called as e.prevent default. So basically if you now refresh it, if you write something here, the form will not auto submit. So basically, if you don't write this line, if you neglect this line, so what will happen now, the form will auto submit. If I click login here, click login, now you can see the question mark here in the address bar, it will auto submit. So now we need to prevent this, so we will calling e.prevent default. So after this, guys, you will get the username which the user has written. So you can see we need to get the username which the user writes here. So we have given this id which is username. So right here we can simply say that document dot get. In this time we can also use query selector, which is a new way by which you can select elements in the DOM. So inside query selector you will give the id name that you have given. This time you will also put a hash symbol which is username, and we can get the value by dot value. That's it. And similarly we can get the password, which is document dot query selector, and here we need to pass the password. So now to get the value we will write here dot value. That's it. So after that we got this, we can print out this, guys, which is username. If I print it, so if I write the username as John and click on the login button, you will see John will be printed out. So we are exactly getting the things that we need, guys, inside this input field. So here we can put the validation basically. So here we can compare if username is not equal to. So here we can put a name here which is Kane. Then in that case we can show an error to the user. You have written wrong username, like this. So if you see, guys, if I say this, if I write here any other username like this, you will see you have written wrong username. And let's suppose if I write the username which is Kane, so now you will see no error will take place because this condition is evaluates to true. That's it. And basically here we can also put a condition for the password as well. So here we can put a and symbol here, and password is not equal to uh, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So in this case, guys, you can see that you have entered wrong username and password, like this. So these records will be coming from an actual database, but for now we don't have a database, so that's why we are doing it with the static values. If you write here, if you write the Kane username, which is correct by default, this condition is met. But this condition will not be met if you write a wrong password. If I write a wrong password, click the login button. So if username is not equal to Kane and password is, so here you need to put and symbol, guys. For this simply means that these both the condition needs to be true, then only this will be occurring. So for our purpose we need to use the or operator, so we will use the or operator like this. So now in either of these condition is not met, this alert statement will be presented to the user. So if I write the username correctly and if I write the password like this, you have written wrong username and password. So in this case, guys, you can put the form validation. And one other thing, guys, it is very much useful. Basically, let's suppose you have a also a file attribute which is input type file, and basically we can give it a file attribute. So this time we will also have a file attribute, so you can choose a file here, any file here, screenshot 3.png. this is the image file we selected. So here what we can do is that whenever we submit we can get the image, that is document.query selector, and here we can say image. So now to get this image, guys, inside JavaScript we can simply say target or like this dot value. So if you now console log it, basically console log image. So what will happen now if you select any image here? If you see, if you put this console, so it is saying that cannot read. So I can simply say how to read the image by ID in JavaScript. How to read input image in form element in JavaScript. So 9 people are watching the stream, guys. Please hit the like button, subscribe the channel as well. So basically here we are just checking how to validate. Basically guys, this is the thing. So we will do like this, input files. So after getting this, we can console log the image, and there is a property called as files 0. So we can get the value of this input file 0. So if you refresh it now, if you go to your file here, basically refresh it, choose a file. So it is saying that cannot read properties of null. Oh sorry, we have given this parameter as files. So this needs to be file, the ID. So that's why it was creating the problem. So again refresh it, choose a file. So if you see the console, basically guys, this is the file which is returned to us. It contains the actual file name, which is screenshot 4.png, and you can now see type is image/png. All such information is returned to us. So what we can say is that there is a form validation for image. There is an attribute called as accept. So for the validation for accepting here, you will only accept image files which are png. So you will put a .png, guys, here. You can put any extension of your choice. This can be either jpg or .png. So if you see, guys, what will happen now, if you choose file, so only these png images will come here. You can see that, guys. You can see png image by default will be selected. This you can change it. Let's suppose I only want PDF images, so only the PDF files will be selected. You will see. So here you can see invoice.pdf file. So in this way, guys, you can only select a certain extension of image files inside JavaScript. Basically, this with the help of this attribute, which is accept. This is the most important attribute when it comes to form validation. So right here, guys, now to show error messages, if you have entered a wrong one, we will have a simple span tag. So basically here you will be saying, we'll be giving a ID to it of username error, and for the password we will say we will be giving a ID to it of password error. So here we have given these span tags. Let me remove this image file attribute for now. So now if you see, if username is not equal to Kane, in this case we will simply say document.get element by ID username error. So here we will be having inner HTML, which will be equal to this backtick symbol. So here we can write custom error here. So here we will be writing a simple error message here, which will be we can have just put this as a paragraph. So just put it as a paragraph. So please hit the like button, subscribe the channel as well, guys. So inside this paragraph we will say that username is not correct. So like this. We can even give it a style attribute. Basically color will be red, like this. So if you now see, guys, if I try to submit the form, if I write here any wrong username is not correct. You can now see username is not correct. So basically now the thing is, guys, whenever I focus into this input field, I need to remove this error, which is in username is not correct. So how to do this? It's very simple here. Basically there is a event handler which is there. So if we see, we need to get the references to the username field. First of all, document.query selector username, and for the password as well, document.query selector and password. So after getting these references, guys, what we can say is that we can delete it from here. So username dot value. So here there is an event out there which is called as, I think we can attach it to the event, these input field, user input field. I think this is called as focus. So whenever you focus inside this input field, basically we need to remove this error message. So what we can do is that basically we can say document dot get element by ID, which is a username error, and we just need to delete all this. So inner HTML will be nothing. So now if you refresh it, username is not correct. If I focus this, you will now see the error message will remove. You can now see whenever I focus inside this, whenever I need to change this value, this removes it like this. So this is all happening due to this focus event that we have attached here. This is a focus event here. Basically, if you have any sort of questions, guys, you can ask in the comment section. Any doubts up till now, I will reply to this. This is a focus event that we are attaching to this input field here, that is doing this task here. And similarly we can attach, basically we can have a other if condition here, this time for the password. So here if password is not equal to 1 2 3 4 5 6, in this case we can have our show the password error, which is password error, and here we can say inner HTML will be equal to. So here we can attach a simple paragraph. Basically we can give it a class which is called as color, this time green, and here we can say that password is not correct. So that's it, guys. If you see now, if you go to your browser and if you type both the things as wrong, you will now see username is not correct, password is not correct. So in both these cases you can see that username is not correct, password is not correct. And if I see here, I need to do the same thing here. When I focus inside this password field, I need to remove this message which is coming here, password is not correct. So for this there is a rule out there. Basically we can simply again add this event here to the password field as well. So password dot add event listener. So there is this focus event which is there inside JavaScript. So basically we can have this event. So inside this event, guys, we can simply say that document dot get element by ID, which is password error, and here we can simply say the inner HTML to inner HTML will be nothing. So that's it, guys. You can see that if I again refresh it, so this is coming due to the required attribute. So if I focus this password field, the error will be gone. And basically if I write the username field as correctly, let's suppose Kane, this is a correct username, and if I write the password incorrectly, then we will see password is not correct. And if I write the username incorrectly and password as 1234566, then we will say username is not correct. So in this case guys, you can now see we are successfully doing this process. So now the next thing is that basically we need to remove this required parameter. This is a built-in parameter attribute of HTML for the form validation. So it makes the field required. Basically it forces the browser to write something. And now if you see, if I don't write anything, the form submits. Again these error will take place that username is not correct, password is not correct. But we don't need to show these messages whenever you don't write anything. We need to show a different message. So what we can do is that will have a if condition here. Basically if username is not equal to is username dot value and is nothing, and password dot value is nothing. In either of these cases, if you don't provide a value, in this case basically we will be providing a error message basically. So this error message will be appearing right here before the form. So basically here we will say empty error. So here we will simply say that document.get element by id empty error, and here we will simply manipulate the inner HTML. And so here we will simply have a simple paragraph which will style will be color will be, I think this time will be black. Please enter all the fields like this. Close the paragraph. So if you don't write anything, you will now see please enter all the fields, and also we need to return that. We need to return from here. So now you can see if you put this return statement here, all the fields, the code outside it will not be executed. The code below this statement will not be executed if you encounter this return statement. This is the advantage of using a return statement here. Basically the code below it will not be executed. So you need to enter all the things. You will see please enter all the fields, and you can now see I think we have built it a fully validation. So Windware is saying Manpreet Jod no. I can create a Chrome extension definitely if you give me some time. So you can see this is a fully featured form validation guys. So we can also add some more events out there basically for the form validation. If you're watching it for the very first time, then please hit the like button, subscribe the channel as well. So the next event we can do in this tutorial guys, basically you have seen in many occasions if the form is not correct, the border is also changed to red color. So here what we can do is that basically we can target our user field, and basically we can be adding a style to it, which is I think we can dot style, or in order to add a styling to it. So how to add border to input field in JavaScript. Basically you can even go to some properties here. just change, go to, so you can go to these properties, guys. Yeah, you can now see there is this property. So username dot style dot, so basically here we can add a border property. Here basically there is a CSS property which is available to us to do this. So username dot style dot border, so here we can change this border 1 pixel solid red, and similarly password dot style dot border 1 pixel solid red. So if you do this, guys, basically if you don't write anything and if you refresh your page, basically what will happen now, if you click login, now you will see your fields will turn red basically, and now you can see. So whenever you enter something here, this message should gone. So now what we can do is that basically, so now we need to simply say whenever we focus inside this input field, what we need to say is that, so here we need to have this now. So here we need to clear out this message document.getElement by ID, empty error. We need to clear it out. So inner HTML will be nothing. And also for the password as well. So document.getElement by ID, empty error, inner HTML is nothing. Inner HTML is nothing. So if you now see, guys, basically if I focus this error message will go on either of these input fields. If I focus on this password field, this error message will go on. And also, guys, we also need to remove these as I type here inside this input field, I need to remove the border. If you see, I need to change this border, remove this border. So what we can do is that basically there is a event out there which is for typing event for input field. So what we can simply say that there is an event out there, username dot add event listener. So that event is called as on key down. I think this is the event, or I think key down, this is the event. So whenever you press a key inside the input field, guys, basically whenever you do this, you need to change the border. You need to remove this border. So what we can simply say, username dot style dot border to nothing, like this. So if you do this, guys, basically what will happen now, if you see, your border will be removed. You can now see the border will be removed. And similarly you need to do this for the password as well. So password dot add event listener key down. So whenever you press any key here basically, and here we will simply say password dot style dot border to nothing. So same once again, if you don't write a message, you can now see. So I think this is a fully featured also. And also we need to do this for the, if the username is not correct, then also we need to highlight this. So in this case also, whenever your username is not correct, in this case also we need to say that username dot style dot border 1 pixel solid red. And for the password as well, so password dot style dot border 1 pixel solid red. So if you refresh it, guys, now basically, so username is not correct, and if I change it to correct username, you will now see. And if I change to correct 456, click on login, and now your form submit. So basically here you can simply add a after all these if conditions, if all these conditions are met to true, then at last we will say that your form is submitted successfully, like this. So now what we can simply say, basically if I refresh it, if I write wrong entries, so it is saying your form is submitted successfully. So we don't want this behavior, guys. So basically what we will say here, we will put this inside a if condition. So here, or we can put a return statement here. So what we can say, we can put a return statement here. Just put a return statement like this. So just put these return statements out there, guys, at the end of the each if statement. So now the code outside it will not be executed. So if you see, so username is not correct. Oh, I think here you need to put, just delete this return statement. Instead you need to wrap that inside else block. So there we have a else block also, guys. So else, just write it inside a else block like this. If you make it the correct username Kane and change the password 123456, you will now see your form is submitted successfully. If you make any sort of mistake here, password is not correct. If you make the password correct and make error in the username, your form is submitted successfully. That behavior we don't want. So how to fix this, guys? Basically, we will use else if. So basically what we will do is, guys, here, basically here we will say else if. There is this if condition here. We will say else if and else if, and then we will put else. Form is submitted successfully. So just wrap this right here, guys. Now if you refresh it, username is not correct. Password is not correct. If you now put the password correctly, so form is submitted successfully. You can now see. So you can see that, guys, basically. So now we will be showing one other method, guys, to you. Basically, whenever you, in real time, basically whenever you are writing it inside this, so whenever you write something inside the input field, so we will keep on checking if the username is correct or not, and we will be real time showing the message. So for this, basically inside this code, we have this key down parameter here, and here basically we will be keep on checking a function we will make here, which will be either return true or false. So check username, and similarly we will make a function check password. So here we will make these two methods here, check username, and we will simply return basically if username dot value is equal to Kane. In that case we will return true, and else we will return false. And similarly we will write the function for check password. If password value is equal to 1 2 3 4 5 6. In that case we will return true, else we will return false. So now we have made these two functions, check password, check username. So we are calling this, so we will wrap this inside a if condition. If it evaluates to true, then in that case basically we will remove the border, username.style.border to nothing, and in the else block basically if here once again we will change the border to basically 1 pixel solid red. So we will paste this condition for the password as well, guys. Basically this here will be check password, and here this will be password.style.border and password. And also we will be showing the error message as well alongside with this, guys. So now to show this error message, basically we will simply say basically we can simply say here document.getElement by ID. So simply we will paste it. This is for the username, and similarly this will be for the password, which will be password error inner HTML. So here we will say password is not correct. That's it. So now if you see, guys, in real time we will check here, basically username is not correct. So also this will be like here. So why it is removed here, if I see here, basically whenever I focus into it I need to remove it. Whenever this is a focus one, I think it is, so we need to remove it from here. We need to remove these conditions. So now what will happen now, if you return here username is not correct, password is not correct, so until you matches the correct condition which we shown, guys, which is the correct username, which is Kane, and password is 1 2 3 4 5 6. This is real-time form validation. Basically if I change it to Kane, basically this message need to be shown off. So what we can simply say here, we are continuously checking this if check username. So here we will simply remove the border, and also here we will also remove the message as well. So here we will simply say document.getElement by ID and username error, and basically the inner HTML will be gone like this. And similarly for the password as well, so we need to clear out the message document.getElement by ID, password error, inner HTML to nothing. That's it. So if you now see, guys, in real time, if I say something here, username is not correct, and if I type the correct username, Kane, what happens? Password error, username error, inner HTML to nothing. So basically here we are calling this method, guys, which is, I think we simply need to say triple equal to. I think we need to say triple equal to, that's why. So if you see, guys, now let me see, it needs to be, so first of all, guys, hit the like button, subscribe the channel as well. So last Saturday ko holiday hai. What holiday? So please hit the like button, guys, subscribe the channel. You can also ask any sort of doubt if you have inside form validation in JavaScript. Basically this needs to be equal to, double equal to, I think. So here we are checking the username value here, if it is equal to Kane or 1 2 3 4 5 6. In that case we are returning true. So you can see that password error, inner HTML, and username is not correct. So here we are first of all checking it. We can alert this value, basically check it is correct, username error. Here also we can say alert, basically correct. So if you see, please enter all the fields. If I entered it correct here, basically I think why it is not doing this. Check username, key down, if check username. Basically we are checking the username value here, username dot value. If the value is Kane, in that case we are returning true. You need AJAX for this. No, it can be also be done using vanilla JavaScript. I am just missing some kind of syntax here. Basically, we are binded this key down event here. Basically, whenever you press any sort of key, if you see, if I press any sort of key inside this username, this event execute. Alert statement is executing it. So we are making this method here, which is check username, which is all the time checking if the username is correct or not. So here we have defined this function. So here we are checking that if the username value is equal to Kane, in that case we need to return true. So let me bind this else here basically. So like this basically. Now if you see, if I change to Kane, if I change to Kane now, basically you need to hide this message. So basically guys, if you're watching it for the very first time, guys, please hit the like button, subscribe the channel as well. I'm seeing people are not liking the code here. So inside check password, check username, this is alert statement which is correct, document.get element by id, username error, inner HTML, username is not correct. I think this data will be coming from the database password value. We are calling this, so key down, check username. So this value will be let me just basically comment this code here. So here let me just simply console log check username function. So if I go to the browser guys, basically let me check the console here. So if I write here, you can now see false is written, and as I write the correct username, Kane. So Kane is written here guys, but still it is returning false. So now I know what is the problem here. So now I need to fix this. Basically inside this function, if you see, this is not returning true. The password dot value. So we have binded this. You will see username, password, fields here, and username dot value. Basically let me check console log username dot value here, and also username dot password dot value. Let me try to clear out the console. So you can see S is printed out, Kane. So now it returns true. Kane, you can see Kane. So why it is if you if I write something here K here, basically it doesn't recognize it. So what is the problem? It is not recognizing the first character which I put here when the key is down. I think guys for this I need key up event. Key up event we need key up instead of key down. So that's why it is we need the key up event for this. So just change it to key up. So here we will say you can see key. So now it will work. So instead of key down guys we need the key up event. So uncomment this line guys, and now it will definitely work. So if I change it to the correct one, you can see correct. So the username will be there. So now it is perfectly working. So what we can say is that so it is real-time validation guys. Now basically if I write something here, username is not correct. If I write the correct one, why this is showing, let me see. Let me remove this from here. So you can see that password is not correct. If I write the right password, you can now see form is submitted successfully. So basically this is the modern techniques guys. Form validation supports basically the real-time validation which is there. These websites support this validation as you like this. All these validation techniques are very much popular. So if you want to do it from a real-time database, all these values will be coming from a MySQL database. I can also make a video on that also. Basically we will be fetching the first of all the values from a database, and then we will be checking these operations. So this is very much useful. It is done by using AJAX. You can also do it by using AJAX jQuery as well, but we have done entirely in vanilla JavaScript. We haven't used any sort of third-party library for this. This is a complete example in pure JavaScript. So one other thing guys, we also need to remove, if I write something here, we need to remove this, which is this one. Please enter all the fields. So what we can do here is that basically we can remove this inside our, you can simply say here basically that we need to remove this. So whenever we start typing here, basically we can remove this. Here we can simply say document.get element by id, empty error, and here we can change the inner HTML to nothing, and also here also for the username as well, username error, sorry, empty error, inner HTML to nothing. So if you refresh it now guys, you will now see if I write something, it will be removed. So you can see that fully featured guys, form validation, real-time validation which is going on using JavaScript. So all these events we are using guys, which is key up, we are also using I think this event, which is submit form submit event. So a combination of these two events, guys, we are using it to do this form validation. So if you want the full source code, you can press yes in the comment section, guys. If you want the full source code, you can give me yes in the comment section. If you want source code for this. So this is the complete example for the form validation, guys. If you are watching it for the very first time, then please hit the like button, subscribe the channel as well. So form validation is quite a very handy thing, guys, inside JavaScript. Basically, we have these things out there, which is the actual paragraph, these two form elements. So if you have any sort of doubt, just use React hooks form. But here we are not. But here we are not using React. We are only using vanilla JavaScript. So basically, if you want to master your concepts, then also it is required that you do like this. So many of the old concepts you need to learn before you learn the new concepts, such as React hooks or something like this. So these concepts need to be, first of all, do it. Yeah, these days only for learning purpose. You may learn these, but you need to have a basic foundation before you can learn new concepts such as React. If these concepts are not cleared in your mind, then you can't proceed with the new concepts. You will always struggle implementing the new concepts if your base is not strong. So that's why I wanted to just teach this example first before I proceed with the more advanced examples. So here you can even apply some bootstrap as well. It totally depends upon you. Many frameworks are there: Tailwind CSS, Materialize CSS. All these frameworks are available to you. You can use any framework instead of using this custom CSS. So there is very example which is there, which is also model form validation is also there. So if you guys have any sort of doubt related to this session, you can ask in the comment section. I will definitely reply. So I will look at the chat here if you have any sort of doubt.